on Bourbon Street.
And he was very prepared to inflict horrific pain. Bourbon Street will be shut down.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
And these folks right here are going to make sure that justice is served.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us as we continue to cover a horrific breaking news story here in New Orleans. I'm Charisse Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. This all started around 3:15 this morning when a man deliberately drove his truck down Bourbon Street. Right now, 15 people are confirmed dead, and we learned tonight that includes the suspect. More than 30 others are injured. The FBI is leading this investigation, while the mayor has issued an emergency declaration for the city. We also know the suspect, Shamsuddin Jabbar, was killed by New Orleans police.
Initially, other possible suspects were being sought, but we have learned tonight that they have been cleared. Also tonight, we have jarring audio as police and fire officials responded to this emergency.
We do want to warn you, this is hard to listen to.
92 Squad, we got a white Ford. I need EMS to Canal and Bourbon now. Canal and Bourbon now, possible 20F.
I need somebody to speak to dispatch. What's going on in Canal and Bourbon? I got it. What's going on in Canal and Bourbon? Showing us what's going on in Canal and Bourbon. Somebody please advise dispatch. What's going on in Canal and Bourbon?
Your accident at Bourbon and Iberville. Y'all were trying to get in rehab. Dozens of people that got hit by this car.
We have a medical pack. Bring a medical pack.
I got at least maybe 12 to 15 people hit by this vehicle. I'm in the 200 block of Bourbon. 880 headquarters. Bourbon Street is shut down from the 100 to at least the 500 block of Bourbon. All officers on Bourbon Street, stop. Headquarters, we need some EMS in here. Do we have them en route? 9530, we need EMS in here on the code 3.
Clear all my units that are code 1. Clear everyone, start them to that location. Anyone on that 30 if possible.
Bourbon and Iberville, I have at least 6 casualties. I have an officer doing chest compressions on one. I have another white male that's got agonal breathing in the 200 block. Multiple casualties that may be going 10-7.
The audio is certainly difficult to hear. We have had crews covering all angles of this story from all across the city. Alyssa Curtis joining us now from near where this all began.
That is near Canal and Bourbon Street. Alyssa, can you walk us through the details here?
Yeah, hey guys, we are right here on Canal and Bourbon, just not far from where this all started early this morning. This scene has looked much of the same since a few hours ago, just a heavy law enforcement presence. And this huge area that's barricaded off, police making sure that no one crosses into this crime scene tape to make sure that they keep and contain this scene, to make sure they're getting every piece of evidence as they can. We've seen kind of the presence on Canal Street throughout the day kind of ebb and flow. Right now it's a little slower right now with tourists walking around on Canal, but I will say the main thing here, not just right here on this crime scene, but throughout the day in every single aspect, there has been a unified command in every single law enforcement agency here today.
The FBI is the lead investigative agency, and we're investigating this as an attack of terrorism.
FBI officials and several other law enforcement agencies are investigating a terrorist attack that happened on Bourbon Street early New Year's Day. According to police, just after 3:15 a.m., 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar rammed his truck through Bourbon Street, then got out of his car and started shooting.
Weapons and potential improvised explosive devices, IEDs, were located in the subject's vehicle. Other potential IEDs were also located in the French Quarter.
Authorities say 14 other people have died and several others were injured, including 2 NOPD officers. The suspect in Jabbar was also killed, and police say he makes 15. But his death doesn't mean the end of the investigation. Despite the heavy police presence.
Over the last 24 hours, we had approximately 400 officers in the French Quarter.
He was still able to make it through. Bourbon Street at Canal is supposed to have bollards to prevent cars from driving through the heavy pedestrian area. But according to the city, those bollards haven't been working, and they were part of the infrastructure project to be completed before the Super Bowl.
Bollards were not up because they are near completion, with the expectation of being completed, of course, by Super Bowl.
But NOPD says a unit was parked at the intersection and they had barricades up, but he drove up and over the sidewalk.
Of course, it wasn't something we expected to account for.
Now all hands are on deck, including NOPD, LSP, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, and more, as leaders say safety is the #1 priority.
And when we face evil, we have a choice. We can run in fear, or we can indeed stand in strength.
Again, just still heavy law enforcement presence here at Canal and Bourbon. Like you guys mentioned, the mayor did enact an emergency declaration, and I'm sure this scene is going to look as it does for quite some time. Reporting live at Canal and Bourbon, Alyssa Curtis, WWL Louisiana.
Alyssa, thank you so much for your reporting today. Again, the suspect is Shamsuddin Jabbar. He's believed to be from the Houston area. Initially, the FBI was looking for other potential suspects, but we've now learned those people have been cleared. Chief Investigator David Hammer has more tonight on what we know about Jabbar.
42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. He graduated from Georgia State University and served in the U.S. military.
I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service.
Other soldiers who served with him as an IT specialist in the Army Signal Corps say he was the top of his IT class at Fort Gordon, Georgia.
I mean, from day one, you can tell that his knowledge in the IT field was better than everyone else's.
Peter Heap served 6 years in the Louisiana National Guard and the last 18 years on active duty as an Army sergeant. He took an IT class with Jabbar in 2010, and for the next decade or more, they remained Facebook friends.
I still thought that he was still a somewhat good guy. He was genuine, he was nice.
In 2020, he made this video about his budding career as a real estate agent in Houston, Texas.
What really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator.
And public records show that Jabbar remained an active American citizen after his honorary discharge from the military, voting in the 2020 presidential election. Heap said Jabbar used to make pro-Islamic posts on Facebook, but nothing radical.
I would not categorize him as being a Muslim extremist at that time when I knew him. Not at all. I think sometime between when I knew him and now, he got radicalized.
Now, the FBI says Jabbar's the same man who drove a pickup truck with an ISIS flag mounted in the back and committed a heinous act of terror. The FBI says he's the driver who mowed down dozens of people on Bourbon Street after 3 a.m. on New Year's 2025. The same man in military gear who fired on officers and ended up here lying dead in the street like many of his alleged victims. The FBI in Houston and the Harris County Sheriff's Office later confirmed taking action at a cluster of trailer homes at the corner of Crescent Peak Drive and Hugh Road, the same intersection where public records show Jabbar's last known address. David Hammer, WWL Louisiana.
And the FBI is asking for any information about Jabbar. If you saw him, the truck he was driving, anything, call them at the number on your screen. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to their website.
Another scene also played out today in St. Roch, beginning with a fire at an Airbnb on Mandeville Street.
For more on how that's tied to our Bourbon Street suspect, here's Jennifer Bellamy.
For hours, neighbors in New Orleans forced to evacuate from their homes. This going on Mandeville, a location where there has been a large, heavy police response. This all starting around 5:18 on Wednesday morning when New Orleans Fire responded and put out a fire in this neighborhood. After that, they called in the bomb squad. The New Orleans Police Department, along with the FBI and ATF, responding as well to what is believed to be a connection between the Bourbon Street attack with the suspect potentially staying at an Airbnb along this street. Neighbors telling me that they are very concerned about what's going on with this possible connection to their community.
This is insane. Scary enough for it to have been a fire, but that a bomber was hiding out there is insane.
It's a shame. It's really, it's sad because it's supposed to be, a new year, a new start. Everybody kind of, let's put last year away, let's move forward. And yeah, this is just not the way you want to start out, especially with so many people who have passed away already this morning.
And that was Jennifer Bellamy reporting. We learned from a neighbor that those on the block were led back into their homes around 8 o'clock this evening.
Again, 14 people were killed in this attack. We've been working to identify all of the victims. Whitney Miller has more on what we know so far.
At least 15 people have died in this senseless tragedy. The names of these people are slowly being identified as families are being notified. The first death we confirmed was of 18-year-old Nakira Cheyenne Dido. She's from Gulfport, Mississippi, and a recent graduate of Harrison Central High School. Her mother told our partners at NOLA.com that she was sweet and loving. She said the teen was visiting New Orleans with her cousin and a friend. Then there is 37-year-old father of two Reggie Hunter from Baton Rouge. A cousin of his told our partners he decided on a whim to go to Bourbon Street. He and another cousin were hit by the truck. Hunter died. His cousin is in the hospital with extensive injuries. The third fatality we know about is 27-year-old Tiger Besh, a Lafayette native and former St. Thomas More football star. Besh died at the hospital from his injuries. His athletic director confirmed his death. She says he was in New Orleans for the holidays. Besh played wide receiver, quarterback, punt returner, and defensive back at STM. He went on to play football at Princeton, and he graduated in 2021, and he was working as a trader at a New York brokerage firm.
First catch of the season for Besh.
And then there's 25-year-old Matthew Tenedorio. He's the youngest of three boys and a Pearl River Central grad. For most of Wednesday, his family hadn't heard from him. And then they got the tragic news. And then there's Nicole Perez, a 28-year-old mother from Metairie who died in the attack. Perez had just been promoted to manager at Kimmy's Deli at Lakeway. Her 4-year-old son is in the care of a loved one, and she was remembered as a good mom and wanted to be successful. And finally, we learned about Kareem Bawadi, one of the two Episcopal School of Baton Rouge alumni victims who died as a result of their injuries. A prayer service will be held at the Lewis Family Memorial Chapel on Thursday at 6 p.m. Bawadi was 24 years old. In New Orleans, Whitney Miller, WWL Louisiana.
And a short while ago, another victim was identified as Hubert Gautreaux.
Archbishop Shaw High School announced his death on social media. He was 21 years old.
Also to come after the break, we'll have much more in this breaking news story,
including information from some people who witnessed the attack, as well as information on those injured. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We continue to cover developing breaking news after a terror attack on a busy Bourbon Street.
This happened around 3 this morning, and we've had crews on scene all day. One of those, Amelia Strahan. She joins us live now from Dauphine and Bourbon Street. Amelia, you have seen this from this morning. What does it look like now?
Yeah, Devin, so still a very heavy police presence down here. Investigators are still on the scene looking for answers. People have a lot of them. There's a black tarp you can probably see still kind of concealing the crime scene, but that was not there earlier. So we did get a look at investigators, like I said, just out there looking for answers, sifting through evidence. Now, we did see a heavy police presence all over the city. We drove just a few hours ago from North Rampart down to South Peters, and there truly was an officer just about on every street corner. By far the heaviest police presence I've seen here in New Orleans. So it was a very difficult day for people here, especially in the quarter with these streets blocked off. For the first part of the day, people that lived down here couldn't even get into their homes. Our hearts go out to those people, and of course the families of the victims, and then also the people that just had to witness the tragedy. I spoke with the manager of a pedicab company, Rayanne Serble, and he was working the quarter last night when the attack happened. He said that he's still shaken and scared to go to work tomorrow.
I was on Bienville and Bourbon, and by that time I'm hearing just people yelling, and I see like a white pickup truck, and there's like kind of metal grinding coming out of the truck, which is, I think that's from the barricade on the Bourbon Street when he hit it. And just I hear he crashed to something, which is he crashed to the construction lifting, and then we hear just gunshot, which is that exchange gun between him and the police. We just ran away from the scene, and we just came back to my pedicab, and I'm looking around. It's just like every corner there's people bleeding and sitting, and it was just terrifying looking at those people.
And of course, our thoughts and prayers are with those victims' families as they have a very dark start to the new year. Reporting live from Dumaine and Bourbon, Amelia Strahan, WWL Louisiana.
Amelia, thank you for that update. In addition to those 14 people killed, and again, we mentioned 15, by the way, because that also includes the shooter, so it is technically 15. More than 30 others were injured.
Meg Ferris has more as hospitals work to help those victims.
It has been an extremely busy day here at the Level 1 Trauma Center at UMC. Originally, 26 people were brought here with injuries. Many of them had critical injuries. Now, 4 were brought to Torre, 4 to Oxnard Baptist, and 1 to Tulane. We do know that since the original 10 who were reported killed in this incident, another 5 has been added to that list. Now, 2 policemen were brought here after being caught in that gunfire exchange with the perpetrator. 1 has since gone home and is reporting that he is on the mend, doing well, and he says, "I love you" to all the people who have been thinking about him and texting him. Now, there's a family reunification center here at UMC for people who could not find loved ones. It's in the middle of the hospital on the first floor. Probably the most impressive thing that has happened today is after our call at around 10:30 this morning for people to go donate blood, many people, dozens and dozens, turned out to the donation centers to give blood. It was already critically low earlier because of its being a holiday. And during holidays, fewer people go donate blood because they're busy with Christmas and that type of thing. But after our call out for the critically low blood situation, people came by the dozens and rolled up their sleeves.
What we need the public to understand right now is this is a perfect scenario where you see that what the need is in this community. It's a continuous, ongoing need. It's a gift that you're going to give that someone can not get anywhere else, so you can't go buy it off the shelf. This comes from your heart.
Now, you can go to our website, WWLTV.com, and there you will find a list of all the blood donation centers and the times, and they will be open for the next few days, asking for you to please come and donate if you did not do so today. Reporting from UMC, Meg Ferris, WWL Louisiana.
And we are going to continue to closely monitor this story. Of course, you can always find the latest on our website and on our streaming app.
We had a front move through late last night, starting off the new year with some cooler temperatures. And today we stayed pretty chilly, only topping out at 60 degrees. 55 is our current reading and already showing signs of us cooling down very rapidly on the North Shore. Upper 30s at Bogalusa, otherwise in the 40s. We will be dropping into the 30s and 40s to start the day tomorrow, and the likelihood of patchy frost north of the lake. High pressure is going to keep us gorgeous over the next couple of days, with maybe some clouds trying to roll in at some point in the day Friday in association with another front moving through. We're kind of a little disturbance ahead of a front. Might even see a few stray showers early Friday morning, a timing of any kind of stray rainfall, kind of dependent upon the front. And then once it moves through, beautiful day, chilly on Saturday, but we will see a quick warm up for Sunday as we get into the warm air sector ahead of an even stronger cold front. This in the next 7 days will be our best chance of storms coming in probably during the afternoon and evening, with a low end threat of maybe some strong to severe storms on Sunday. Then brutally cold air moves in. Now, we're still not talking about hard freeze type temperatures, but a massive drop in temperatures as we head into next week with 12th night on Monday. So we'll stay in the 60s for our highs through the latter part of the week. By Saturday, highs staying in the 50s, kind of that warmer, more humid, and potentially stormy day on Sunday before a big drop in temperature. We're looking at 30s on both sides of the lake and highs staying in the 40s next Tuesday and Wednesday.
After the despicable attack that occurred in the early morning hours,
To all the families of those who are killed, to all those who are injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal in the weeks to come.
That was President Biden earlier this evening as he spoke about the attack on Bourbon Street.
He also mentioned another incident that's being investigated across the country. This afternoon, a Cybertruck exploded outside of the Trump's Hotel in Las Vegas. It appears to have been rented from the same app as the vehicle that was used in the attack here in New Orleans. The FBI is also investigating this incident, but it's not clear if there's any connection between the two events.
The attack on Bourbon Street also postponed the Sugar Bowl that was supposed to be held tonight in the Superdome.
It will instead kick off tomorrow. Sports director Doug Mouton joins us now. That was a big adjustment, moving a whole day.
Yeah, it was a lot of adjustments by a lot of people. The Sugar Bowl will kick off at 3 p.m. tomorrow, one day late, but they are playing the Sugar Bowl and they're playing it in the Superdome. Originally, the talk was they would move the game back 24 hours and play tomorrow night. The teams wanted the game earlier. This way, the winning team can get back home tomorrow night and not lose a day of preparation for their semifinal game in the college football playoff. Now, around 6 p.m. tonight, this is Georgia leaving the Canal Street, this is the football team, leaving the Canal Street Marriott to bus to the Caesars Superdome for a walkthrough. So the dome was swept and cleared by 6 p.m. this evening. Now, the two teams had just been pent up in their hotels all day. So Georgia took the opportunity to let their players stretch out a little bit at the Superdome. Notre Dame opted not to do that. The Fighting Irish stayed in their hotel. They brought in the families to be with the players. It was a good crowd of Georgia supporters cheering on their team as they left for the practice, but the mood in the French Quarter was very subdued today. We talked to a ton of fans of both teams. Certainly moving the game back is an inconvenience to some, but everyone we talked to was staying the extra night to see the game.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal for us. I mean, we're pretty flexible with our plans. We're from Orlando, so we can get back and forth pretty quick from here.
It's a tragedy what happened, so we understand that's a tragedy what happened. But as far as fans that come here for the game, it's a big problem. We expected to come down here and play a game, go home the next day, But evidently, we have to book another room and stay another night and eat more food. And, it's a little hassle.
How would you describe the mood around New Orleans today?
Well, it's very quiet. I mean, we're used to a lot more excitement and things going on. It's kind of very quiet, and we were just walked up by Bourbon Street there, and it's just it's a calm area. So, yeah, subdued.
This is my third Sugar Bowl. I came in 2018. I came in 2019, so I know exactly how it would be and can be. This is the most mildest Sugar Bowl before game I've ever seen in my life. It's quiet out here. Matter of fact, I've been on Bourbon Street 4 times, I think. This is the most quiet I've ever seen, Canal Street, Bourbon Street. And it seems like, and I was just telling guys that we go eat, it seems like it's almost like a funeral out here.
It's very somber. Like we're trying our best to have a good time out of a bad situation. And that's what you got to do. You just got to, one of the things you got to do in life, sometimes you just got to pick up the pieces and move on. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
And another question, would the Superdome have enough workers to staff the game tomorrow with the game time shifting? Dome leaders and Super Sugar Bowl reps both say that will not be a problem. In fact, John Sudsbury with the Sugar Bowl said, quote, there are a lot of adjustments everywhere, but everyone is on board for whatever it takes. So the game will take place tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
All right, Doug, thank you so much. And stay with us as we continue to cover this breaking news story.
We'll have more coming up after the break.
And we continue to follow breaking news tonight. Here's a live look from Bourbon Street right now. This is a few blocks down from where a crash killed 14 people this morning. We've seen police agencies along the street all day, and you can see wildlife and fisheries agents and state police there now.
The latest information we have right now, 15 people are confirmed dead. That number does include the suspect who was shot by New Orleans police. He's been identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar. We've learned that he's from the Houston area and he has a military service record. More than 30 people were injured in this crash. The FBI is leading this investigation while the mayor has issued an emergency declaration for the city. Of course, there are lots of updates to come on this story. We'll have plenty more for you coming up on the WWL Louisiana Morning News.
And be sure to also watch WWL Plus and download the WWL Louisiana app. Have a good night.